You know them very well, Islam and Ilya. Just curious if they do fight, who wins?
Look, the thing is with Ilia, he is
Ilia Topuria shocked the entire MMA world when he declared that his time at featherweight was over. Many fighters cling to their belts, but this man decided he was finished at 145 and had bigger goals in mind. Suddenly, he vacated his title and set his sights on the dominating force at lightweight, Islam Makhachev. People have been asking one burning question ever since. Did Topuria really accomplish enough at featherweight, or is he simply gambling with his entire career by jumping straight into the path of one of the UFC's most feared champions? Nobody saw this move coming so soon. Sure, Topuria had stated before that the weight cut was brutal, but talk is one thing, giving up the belt is another. He went from being the king of 145 to a hungry new challenger at 155 literally overnight. To some, that's an all-or-nothing gamble, but if there's one man who can stir up hype this way, it's Ilia Topuria. When the news first hit that Topuria was vacating his featherweight title, social media exploded. Many fans assumed he'd try for multiple title defenses, especially after that unforgettable knockout of Alexander Volkanovski, the man once considered nearly invincible at 145. Then he demolished Max Holloway with another knockout that shook the MMA community. In a single year, Topuria toppled two legends, turning himself into one of the scariest names on the roster. Yet after such a short reign, he was done. Featherweight was no longer worth his time, or so he claimed. He attributed it mainly to the weight cut, calling it unhealthy and unsustainable. However, there's a part of the fan base that believes Topuria is chasing bigger paychecks and faster fame by moving up. Whether that's true or not, his exit has left the 145 division wide open, and while new contenders fight to fill the vacancy, Topuria sets his sights on the ever-dangerous Islam Makhachev at lightweight. There's been plenty of chatter about Toria's real size. Rumors swirl that he walks around at 190 lbs, possibly even more, between fights. Cutting that down to 145 would be brutal for anybody. If that's the case, the jump to 155 might be a relief, and potentially an even playing field since Islam Makhachev is also known for being huge at lightweight. Some fans raise eyebrows at the notion that Toria's size was what let him dominate Volkanovski and Holloway. Others say it's nonsense, pointing out that both Volkanovski and Holloway have shown they can handle bigger opponents, yet the talk refuses to die down. Weight cutting is one of the most mysterious aspects of MMA. Fighters experiment with different methods, from water loading to special diets, and it's not always clear who has an advantage. Behind the rumors lurks a more pressing question. If Topuria was already so big, does he lose that edge at 155? Makhachev is no small lightweight. He's strong, methodical, and used to dealing with top-tier grapplers and strikers alike. If Topuria wants to lean on power, he may discover that Makhachev won't budge so easily. On the other hand, carrying fewer pounds to cut might mean Topuria enters the cage healthier, sharper, and more resilient for a 5-round war. Critics of Toria's move argue he hasn't stayed at featherweight long enough to claim an untouchable legacy. Usually, we expect a champion to defend his belt multiple times before declaring the division conquered. But Topuria counters that logic by pointing to two victories that rocked the sport. He ended Volkanovski's run in crushing style and then sent Max Holloway to the canvas, two men widely regarded as featherweight royalty. In Toria's eyes, that's more than enough to prove his supremacy. He said publicly that he felt no one else would challenge him. Most champions would relish the idea of a lengthy reign, racking up multiple title defenses. But Topuria insists he's not one to sit idle. He wants new hurdles and sees that at lightweight. For a guy who climbed to the top so quickly, the desire to keep chasing bigger challenges might be commendable or it might be reckless. That's for the octagon to decide. During his time at featherweight, he gained respect for his pinpoint striking, relentless style, and fearsome finishing ability. Watching him knock out two of the best in back-to-back fights made it clear that this wasn't some hype job. It was real power, real skill, and real confidence. Still, deciding he's got nothing left to prove after a handful of fights as champion is a bold stance that not everyone agrees with. Standing in Toria's way is Islam Makhachev, a name already synonymous with top-level grappling and fight IQ. He's commonly viewed as the next phase of Dagestani dominance, a successor to Khabib Nurmagomedov. Though Makhachev's style sometimes draws criticism for being predictable or boring, the results can't be denied. He's a master at pressuring opponents against the cage, dragging them down and controlling them from top position. Rumors often surround Dagestani fighters, with some people implying they might have an unfair
a dangerous fighter, and he can catch anyone. You know, if he goes there and he's stoic and he's, you know, even if the fight's not going his way, he will not eventually get it, but he's going to keep trying to find it. If he was to land, he could definitely knock him out.
Topuria starts fast but can't keep Makhachev off him, and the fight might turn into a wrestling clinic. Both Volkanovski and Poirier highlight that Topuria is taking a big chance. Vacating a belt isn't some small gamble. It's a leap. They also note how Toria's finishing ability might even the playing field.
What do you make of Ilia just vacating the belt and now moving to your division?
I mean, it's respectful. It's honorable to vacate the belt, to not hold up division where guys have been working so hard to get their shot at the title. He's doing it the right way, you know, and I've never seen him in person, but if he can make one, you know, everybody says he's heavy, he walks around heavy, but if he can make 145, I don't know how big he is, because some of these lightweights are huge.
Topuria starts fast but can't keep Makhachev off him, and the fight might turn into a wrestling clinic. Both Volkanovski and Poirier highlight that Topuria is taking a big chance. Vacating a belt isn't some small gamble. It's a leap. They also note how Toria's finishing ability might even the playing field. When you can turn off an opponent's lights with a single shot, a size disadvantage might not matter as much. Still, they hint that Makhachev's methodical approach and physical presence could be the deciding factor. Now the MMA community waits to see if the UFC will fulfill Toria's wish. Will he truly skip the line and face Makhachev in what could be a blockbuster showdown? Or will the promotion insist on him fighting a top contender first? Since he's been public about not wanting to fight anyone else at 155, a direct title shot seems plausible, especially if the UFC sees money in the matchup. A Topuria versus Makhachev clash would be dripping with intrigue. Style matchups don't get much more exciting. Lethal power puncher versus technical grappler with underrated striking. Add in the backstory of a newly crowned featherweight champ, discarding his belt to test himself against one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC, and you've got a headliner written all over it. Fans are already drawing battle lines. Some firmly believe Makhachev's going to ragdoll Topuria, insisting the gap in wrestling is too wide. Others point to Toria's unstoppable confidence and finishing rates, saying that if Makhachev makes one mistake, he'll end up on the canvas staring at the lights. MMA has shown time and again that hype can be turned upside down by a single punch or perfectly timed submission. What about the future of the lightweight division? If Topuria somehow pulls it off, we'd see a brand new champion who's proven himself in two divisions within a lightning-quick time frame. That might spark talk of him being one of the fastest rising legends in the sport. Meanwhile,